Sorry. Pull it up. I'm a better walker than a podium guy. So my name's Robert MacDonald, as I said, and when they asked me, I was really honored to come out and speak and tell my story. Really honored. But then I found out it was a dry event. I thought to myself, I'm not very funny unless the crowd's had a couple drinks in them. No, all seriousness, I'm very honored to be here and tell you guys a little bit in 5 or so minutes about my story. I guess basically I'll just start from December 8th, 2012. I was in Mexico. I went down for vacation with 4 friends. And I was young, I was very independent, I was a little brash, and as young, independent, brash men sometimes do, they make decisions that they maybe shouldn't make. And I, instead of going and getting keys that were 15 minutes away, I made a quick decision to climb 3 stories in a balcony and go into my bedroom that way. That day, my life changed forever. My shoulder, a rugby injury, I dislocated as I was on the 3rd floor, my last step into my balcony, and I fell 31 feet back. On landing on the ground, I guess I have a strong head because I didn't get a concussion, but I did break 11 ribs. I broke my scapula. I broke 10 vertebrae. I punctured my lung. Don't do that, it's very painful. I also lacerated my kidney, and the big one was I dislocated 2 vertebrae. And what happened when I dislocated those vertebrae, I sent a shock down my spinal cord. And on the ground, I thought of one thing as soon as I hit the ground. What have I done? And this thought came because I couldn't feel my legs. And instantly, I knew my life had changed forever. Long story short, I was airlifted back to St. Mike's and had surgery, neurosurgery by Dr. Ginsburg at St. Michael's Hospital 36 hours after this had happened. That's probably one of the reasons I'm standing here today, because I had surgery so quickly by a machine that is only in one hospital in Canada, and that's at St. Mike's, and the machine's over $1.5 million, and an incredible surgeon who's got 18 years of post-secondary education. My battle wouldn't stop there. I was in the ICU unit for 9 days, gripping for my life, not my future life. I was gripping for it right there and then. I would battle out of that, and I remember being in trauma unit and my father sitting beside my bed and asking a neurosurgeon who'd come to do some checkups on me, will Robert ever walk again? And the neurosurgeon looked at him and said, I can't say. I can't say no, and I can't say yes. Needless to say, I spent 5 more weeks at St. Michael's Hospital regaining my health, and that would be when I was transferred to Toronto Rehab's facility, Lyndhurst Spinal Cord Rehabilitation Center. My recovery journey would then begin. I wheeled into Lyndhurst and began a 3-month recovery process with 5 to 6 hours of physio every single day. I would stand for the first time supported at Toronto Rehab's facility. I would walk with assisted aid, which I'll show you here is the first time that I actually did walk with assisted aid. There you go. There. It's a little fuzzy, but you can see the physiotherapists pronating my body to move forward. My nervous system is not telling me to do it, nor my muscles are all done. I take about 10 steps in this video, and I would compare the exertion of this video to running a half marathon. There you go. That's all. Thank you. Good. Good. One more step with the right. Bring your heel with the left. There you go. And here's my hand. I'll make sure that you got pull it down the side. This would be physio for 5 to 6 hours a day for 3 months, as I was 9 months, and I've continued to do physio countless hours since then privately. I went through a lot of dark times. As I said, I was a young, independent, successful person, and my entire life was taken away from me. I couldn't get up to go to the bathroom. I couldn't get up to get a drink of water. So when something like that happens to you, your entire life changes, and your perspective on life changes, and you go through a lot of dark times. But I always thought positively. I didn't find out until about 2 years when I did a co-presentation with my neurosurgeon that my actual odds of walking again were 5%. I'm so glad I didn't know that. And naivety is a super powerful motivator. They say it works phenomenal in business and it works phenomenal in life. Don't ever doubt yourself. Be naive. I was naive. I kept moving forward, and I'm standing here today because of that. My goals didn't stop there. I loved running. I'd done a half marathon before. I always wanted to do something more. And so I met with Canada Running Series and some of the folks that work with Alan and said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to attempt to run and train for this again. And my physiotherapist, who'd been working with me for about a year and a half, said, "You're absolutely crazy. You should not do this." And I said, "Well, is it going to put me back?" And he said, "No, it's not. It's not going to hurt you. Just be careful. Go for it." So I started training about 7 months out, and I couldn't even consistently run 5 kilometers at one point. And I rallied around my friends and my support system, and I said to them, "You know what? I need to give back to Toronto Rehab. Toronto Rehab Foundation is an unbelievable organization, and one of the reasons that I'm standing here today." And I said, "You know what? How do I give back to them?" Well, I'll raise money for them by running this race. So I reached out to my family and my friends and anyone basically that would run with me and said, let's raise money and give back to them because I'm able to give back because of them. We started training, and I met with Toronto Rehab and said I was going to do this, and all of a sudden 5 people turned into 10 people, and then 10 people turned into 20, and then 20 turned into 30. And Alan's talking about building community. On the day that we ran Team I Will, which was one of my mottos when I had my dark times, I had 72 people run on it as fundraising representatives for Toronto Rehab. Probably 60 had never ran a race in their life, never mind a half marathon, which every single one of us completed. Even one person who had a fracture in their knee still walked across the line, and people carried him with a wheelchair out. So we ended up raising, believe it or not, $72,000 for Toronto Rehab all together. And you'll see here me crossing the finish line, and my face there is happiness, sadness, and complete exhaustion. I don't know if you've ever heard someone cry and cough out of needing oxygen, but you don't want to hear it. So we were able to finish that day, and let me tell you, that does build community, and that does change people's lives. Countless people that were on that team. The Toronto Star ended up writing an article about it, and lots of lives were changed just because of that. And this was just under 3 years after my life changed. And 9 out of 10 people would have looked at my life changing and said, his life is over. He's never going to run again. He's never going to play hockey again. He's never going to run a half marathon. And with a positive attitude and a lot of support, I was able to do that. And I think that everybody, no matter who you are, will run into a dark time in your life. There's probably some people in this room right now that are going through a dark time, whether it's with family, friends, relationships, business, anything you go through. You're going to have a battle. You're going to run into a problem. But if you keep a positive attitude and you know that you'll get out of it. You will come out of that dark time. It's not a tragic experience, but it's a triumph. And that's what happened, and that right there is a triumph. And that's a community building triumph. And I stand here now as a humble guy, not a brash one, because of what I've learned through this experience. So thank you to Scotiabank, and thank you to every one of you.